in the first game rather than the second or third. All right, and here we are on to Compound for map number 1. BaiSha and GV Gaming going head to head. And it's going to be BaiSha starting things off on the attack with a lot of util into mid.
Yeah, GV already, though, going for some early control themselves. They've got 3 players pushed up here on the A-long room. Seems to be a good collision course for them to potentially contest these 3 players on the opposite side. It's going to be BaiSha with XQ1 here, kind of looking in that direction, but actually just emphasizing a lot on mid, and this is really going to be the key point on this map. I remember we were talking about it at CFS. There's like a 70 or 75% execution rate out of mid on this map, which is really uncommon on pretty much any other map, but for some reason Compound teams love to execute from mid on.
Well, I think you just have to look at the way the map layout is, and it sort of speaks to itself, right? The extremities are so far away from the rest of the map that it doesn't give you options. If you're full committing on one side of the map, it's going to take you a long time to get over to the other. But if you're going from mid, if things don't quite go right, you can still move back in another direction. Seven has started the account, of course, with a headshot there onto Zhao. It hasn't slowed BaiSha down all that much. They're quite keen to still make their way into A, and this is what I was talking about. Initially, it looked like they would go B. Now they go A. Wu9. Nice spray down for that second frag. And straight up, the A site cracked open, and that is the benefit of taking the choice from mid rather than from one of the 2 extremities.
Yeah, definitely a solid execution coming out. 7 now left alone, 1 versus 3. Wunan is a little bit low on HP, but with that bomb timer ticking, 7, he's got to take the fight here. 577 ready to meet him on the other side of it, and this is where they're going to have to find a way to contest that mid push, and this is where teams have a lot of difficulty on this map on the GR side. It's how they actually address that mid execution they're going to see so often, because some teams, they might play into the hand, get a little aggressive, but it involves taking a lot of risk on this type of map, and this time GV, you can see the risk being put towards those B tunnels. They've got 4 players pushed up aggressively here, waiting to hold that off, but again, if it goes mid, they're still kind of compromised positionally here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially if it goes toward A, they're super, super compromised. They've got a long way to rotate back across. It's going to take them a long time to get there, but see if they call correctly. You do have Zhao kind of keeping a bit of that interest over toward B. It may end up actually being the B split. FaZe now smoked off, can't really see too much. Lack of information for GV in this round, and even in the previous round, right? They're playing very back in their sights. They're not really contesting mid at all. It's kind of giving BaiSha the run of the game at the moment, but GV spread themselves back out.
Yeah, good positional change, though, especially awesome. The angle he's moved into is very important for this mid execution. He can help hold from underneath on the A-bomb site, but he can also quickly hold on that GR spawn off angle if this B push does come through, which seems to be the case so far. 4 players now working their way aggressively through the mid spawn here. It's going to be 577 who could run into trouble very quickly. Awesome, just playing patiently behind the GR spawn wall, and they really don't have any idea.
Still plenty of time here for BaiSha. They don't need to be doing anything rash. They're going to look for those entries. Great pre-fire from 577. Just shuts Awesome down before he can even blink. And now the onus once again is back over toward the A bomb side, and it's not surprising BaiSha would go there, considering they found it so easy in the previous round to get in. Again, so far it's only 7 that has looked like he's been a problem for BaiSha. The only other player to get a kill so far is Snox. This has been a bit of a demolition from BaiSha so far.
Yeah, it's so tough here because it feels like GV's getting good reads positionally and where they need to be, but shot for shot, I mean, you could see it even in that one-on-one duel with 577, how he peeked the corner against Awesome. These guys are just bringing their aim game to perfection, and that's what makes BaiSha such a tough team to deal with, because from what we've seen out of this team historically, it's not like a counter-strat style they play. They just know how to out-aim you, and they're not afraid to take those battles.
Much more aggressive from GV this time. I kind of like that, right? I think they just gave up a little bit too much map control to BaiSha early on in the piece and allowed them to execute onto the sites. Instead, this time, they're kind of saying, well, yeah, I mean, look, you've been running through us so far, but at least in this round, you will have to fight us to get to the site. Creed's only good for one there. 5-7-7, nice double down. Trades are still effective enough for BaiSha. It was a close affair. But GV have the deficit now and have also got two isolated players that now kind of need to pop off individually to save this round.
Yeah, right now, FaZe, he's got to make a tough call where he wants to reposition. Snox, though, holding the mid all by himself. This is going to be a tough one if it is a full mid execution again coming out from BaiSha, but he is hungry for that information, trying to figure out where they might be playing from. But 9 here, he's got such a good angle to play here on the back of the tower that Snox might not be ready for that peak.
Yeah, well, doesn't seem like he will be. 9 makes an easy frag for himself, jumping out of the window. FaZe is in the right place to make a difference. Are they aware of his presence, though? Nice spacing. But 5-7-7 still goes down when he tries to swing for the trade. The nade around the corner doesn't quite catch 9, and he's desperately calling for Xiao to come help him out as they go back over toward that A bomb site. FaZe has got this into a winnable position, but has to walk through a smoke. Hasn't been spotted yet. Now the shots come through. Somehow they can't hit him. I'm not sure how he has clutched that. BaiSha, I mean, they're looking at that and thinking, where did our bullets go?
Yeah, what a good round there coming out of FaZe, really just stepping up big time for his team and keeping things close when they needed him to. Now it's only a one-round game. They've got a chance to tie it on the GR side, and this is exactly the momentum swing they were looking for. Now they've got to find a way to capitalize, but look at the utility swing in mid. It's going to be a lot to deal with. Awesome, though, uses that counter flash to sneak into the tower. This is a really good position steal coming out from Awesome, and I don't think 5-7-7's really going to be prepared for anyone to be in that early tower take. So GV, this is a really good early round setup.
BaiSha doesn't look like they want to lead into it at the moment. Oh, Zhao, he's the one that might just come unstuck. Oh, never mind. The Orm pays dividends. One shot, one kill. Awesome down.
Yeah, now it's going to be up to GV to adjust after that. That is a tough one to swallow, unfortunately. It looked like he had the positional advantage, but Xiao just hitting a nasty shot there gets it done, and now it's going to be up to GV to hold off this A split that's starting to come to life from BaiSha. 5-7-7 getting ready to lead that charge from A long. You've got 7 here looking to try an aim duel onto the backside of mid. He's going to be flashed out of position. Wudon gets the spray down, takes him down, but Creed's on the late swing, able to find 2. But it's still only going to be up to FaZe. Another 1v3 in front of him. I mean, he's been able to do a clutch already in the previous round, but 2 in a row, it's a lot to ask.
Yeah, it is, but a couple of these members quite low, so that does make it doable. FaZe is going to opt to swap out for the rifle. I think that's the right choice, considering 9 and Xiao are down below a quarter of HP. It's important that he finds Xyulun early on in this engagement and has spotted him out, but can't win the duel, so crisis averted this time for BaiSha. They're not going to make the same mistake twice and let that round fall by the wayside. Quite frankly, this should be a 4-0 right now.
Yeah, it really should be. I mean, BaiSha, they've had the advantage at the start of every single round. GV just getting away with a single clutch so far in this one, but continuing forward, GV, they've got to show they can win a little bit more in the earlier rounds here. Otherwise, this is still going to be a really scary game on their hands because the early entries have still yet to go their way.
Well, once again, mid-control more or less established for BaiSha, but they're not super interested in it at this point in time. They're going to go back towards B, which for the first time, if they were to hit B, would kind of be the first little bit of pressure that they're putting on that side of the map that's not come from mid.
Yeah, it's really going to be up to 7 to hold this one off if that push does come through. He's the only player anchoring towards the B bomb site. The rest of his team really emphasizing this 3-man stack on the backside of mid. 7, though. He's going to have to play contact here. Lets the first player pass, but 9, what a good follow-up shot. Gets it done. Snox rotates in. He's able to find one onto Shao, lurking in mid still. It's going to be Creed's on site who goes down, and BaiSha, they've got full control of the site now.
Big problem if you lose full control of the site and you have a numbers deficit. Now they've been smoked off as well. Their only avenue of attack back into this site is kind of a no-go zone, right? The simple fact of the matter is, generally speaking, you don't want to be pushing smokes. It's going to give the advantage to the defenders, and that is exactly what I'm talking about. There's not really a whole lot you can do when you're the player coming out of the smoke, and they just get ripped apart.
Yeah, it's just looking like a really tough one so far here for GV. Not a whole lot of luck on holding these executions as well. It's just been kind of getting picked apart. You've got players like 9 and 577 who can kind of just carve that path really well, just knowing they've got the better shots in this situation. So GV, this is where they take a little bit of a gamble here, putting 3 players early on towards the B tunnels, pushing up for this mid-pinch play. They've got a chance to maybe catch Shao off guard, but he seems pretty aware that there could be a player close by.
Yeah, wouldn't be the first time Shao's been able to find a kill like that, and very nearly gets himself a second one on the way out. But the important fact is he's got the numbers advantage, and he's been able to escape to safety. Back toward B by the looks of things for BaiSha, but instead they opt to turn around and head back into mid and continue to challenge over in the direction of A. It is just a demolition. This is looking even more one-sided than our first match that we had.
Yeah, it really is, and now it's going to be GV leaving it all up to Creeds here on the 1v4. He's able to find one onto 577, but just seems like it could be a bit too much to ask at this point, considering BaiSha, since that one clutch against them, they haven't let anything slip at all. And now it's going to be Creeds looking for that opportunity to maybe find another, but 9 picks up an 11th frag. This guy's 11-1 already.
Yeah. Not looking too good. Suppose right now the big conversation to be had is probably who gets the MVP out of this game for BaiSha right now, because it's not, the conversation is not will BaiSha win or something like that. We've got a attack pause here maybe, or is there a techie shoot on the stage? It looks like it's attack pause to me. I mean, there's conversation having on the GV side. What do you even say at this point though? Like,
yeah, I mean, at this point, they've really got to find a way to just regroup and honestly play a little bit more aggressive, take more risks at this point. They know playing stationary is not going to work here. If they're just taking the 1v1 aim duel positions on their GR, they're probably not going to win them. Players like 9 and 577 like to just swoop in. They pre-fire a lot of the common spots, and GV is just not making it work. So I'm hoping they do more mid-aggression here, really establish some more forward presence, and as we saw, they had a lot more success in doing that, even though BaiSha was still able to close out a lot of those rounds. So at this point, though, it's just taking those risks and hoping something can pan out, because they really don't have anything to lose here.
Yep. I suppose that's the name of the game. I mean, I feel like where the difference really has been made is like the trading and spacing from BaiSha has just been so much better. It's not as if GV haven't been able to put themselves in the position to take fights that look favorable, right? They've had angles that they look like they've been able to maybe find an opener from, but they haven't really won the initial fight, or they haven't won the initial engagement, and even then, when they are able to trade back down, you're already at a deficit because, well, slowly but surely, obviously, BaiSha's in positions to trade themselves. So fighting the initial duel will be a big difference maker for GV in a couple of these rounds. I mean, there was the one from 7 and the one from Awesome, one in mid and one in towards B. Both of those actually went the way of BaiSha, and maybe it's a different story if it had gone the other way. But anyway, into round 7, half is starting to dissipate right here for GV, and they need to do something pretty quick.
It is going to be 7 who meets the challenge here as well. A lot of players coming in his direction. It's going to be 4 players from BaiSha putting that early aggression towards the B tunnels. Now they're going to fan out and play into this mid setup. The rest of GV, though, playing pretty reserved here, not really trying to make any contact, just trying to wait and see what BaiSha is going to do here, and it seems pretty likely it's going to be a late round mid-execution. That seems to be kind of their bread and butter on a map like this, and it's no surprise here. The way they do it looks pretty close to flawless the majority of the time.
Yeah, big nade stack coming out the window there, but luckily for GV, they don't have anyone sitting under that position, which is a fairly common spot to hold from that we've seen from GV even in this game. Creed's just a bit further back, and well, he's good for one, but again, not quite the second. And it's a pitched battle in mid that ends up being about as good as it has been, actually, for GV in this map so far. So the fact that they're still in the 3-on-3, I think they'll take that right now.
Yeah, they've got a slight HP advantage here as well. Both 9 and Moonon are pretty low. And awesome. He's got the backstab set up. He's going to find 1 onto 9. Almost the second here onto Xiao. He's going to have a chance at it. Xiao gets 1, but 7 on the flank. Gets the backstab, double kill. And GV find themselves a second round.
Yeah, a little bit of a change up maybe from GV. BaiSha kind of gave their plan away, I felt, by using that nade stack in mid. Kind of signals to GV that there's at least 3 or 4 players there.
Interesting start here coming out from BaiSha, playing a little bit more reserved towards the midsection of the map, putting that early pressure onto Xiao to find the opening pick. There is a 3-stack here coming out from GV this time around. They've got that support next to 7. Xiao trying to figure out exactly what they're up to. He's creeping in, but I like the angles here from GV, not giving up too much information, even though they hold a strong stack here.
Son said he wins the race for BaiSha at the moment. But good stack from GV on this B side of the map. Bit of util being used in mid to try to draw a bit of a response, a bit of presence back there. There's a nade coming through from Creeds into mid, smoke as well. So you can see the idea behind this working for BaiSha, that they're trying to draw the members away from B main, which is where 7 is trying to hold. And once again, he is run down. He's done a lot of damage there to Wu9, but can't actually find the killing blow. Xiao caught off guard. He'll fall. And Creed's awesome, chiming in with a couple. Is it enough, though? Yes, in the end, is the answer. FaZe, 3 big ones over towards the site, and gets GV another round. So maybe the chapter is not fully written just yet.
Yeah, it's been a really solid response from them. FaZe starting to come to life along with Creeds in these last couple of rounds, really piecing things together and making sure they've got a solid hold on that midsection of the map. And that's really what the defense on Compound boils down to. And considering GV is a much stronger team on their blacklist side, already having 3 puts them in a decent position. And if they can even get a 4th here, this becomes a very winnable match for them. And honestly, a bit of a surprise to see after how this one started.
Absolutely. It did look like it was far and away going to be BaiSha, just kind of, you know, maybe 10-1, 10-2 kind of angle. But at this point, now I'm starting to question that. GV have come back in a big way for this half. What can they do in the final round of the half? If they can convert this to a 5-4, then, yeah, I mean, they're not actually in a bad spot at all. 7, oh, he's going to be flashed out and bombarded. They just knew. This time around, the nade stack works out. That's unfortunate for GV. Just when they're getting some momentum, they have to basically win a round now, 5-on-4.
Yeah, Creeds, he's going to be under a lot of pressure. He's going to go down. Awesome, able to find the trade, but it's probably not going to be a whole lot more than that. He's taken out of the picture. FaZe and Snox again left for the retake, but this time around, BaiSha's got a lot more numbers to work with in this situation. Now they've just got to anchor on this site and hope the push comes through and that they can maybe defend it. But BaiSha this time uses it as a nice fake, gets control of mid, and now they're already working their way towards A.
Yeah, you need to find a pick here somewhere as GV, but it's not what is going to happen. FaZe pulled off a good clutch earlier. This one even more difficult, and timing won't quite go right for him. So it is BaiSha that secure their 6th. 6-3 in the first half here on Compound. And yeah, I mean, it's a weird one, isn't it, right? Because it did look like for a couple of rounds there, GV was quite competitive, but when you keep in mind that they won one really big clutch. And maybe the scoreline could blow out a little bit more to a 7-2. How competitive do they really feel in that first half? I'm going to say not super competitive outside of a couple of, isolated rounds.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's really going to come down to what they can do on the Blacklist side. They got 3 rounds, which isn't the worst-case situation for them, but they still have a lot to do in the second half to win it. The Blacklist side for them, from what I've seen, is really strong. But when you're up against the aim of BaiSha, it can just be a whole different beast. I mean, just talking about firepower, I mean, we've got 15-3 on 9, and he's single-handedly doubling over what the rest of his team is putting up. But this is just kind of the performance we expect from him.
Well, Nade's going to connect and give 9 a bit of a tickle. GV just back and forth across the map. Resetting to go and collect the C4. Now they're into mid. BaiSha more than happy to give them mid control and play a little bit more reserved back in their sights. Same kind of approach as what we saw GV doing earlier on in their defensive half.
Yeah, now it's going to come down to where they actually decide to take this full execution. They are grouping up for the mid hit. Looks like probably towards that late A pinch here. They've got FaZe coming up A long, and this is where BaiSha has to hold the line here. Xiao, though, going to be taken down. N9 falls as well, and now it's a 5-on-3. GV, they've got full control of the front of this bomb site, but 577 picks up a huge double kill to answer right back. FaZe and Snox now trying to sneak their way back in and grab this C4, but Woonon and XQ both have really good angles on the backside of this bomb site. Now FaZe has to carve his way through the edge of the smoke here to try and find this final opening to make it work. He does manage to sneak the bomb, and they can at least get the plant here.
Definitely winnable. Flash in from BaiSha. Is going to open the space up for XQ to win the duel against FaZe. Now Snox has to give away his position, but it will not matter. Confident on the peak. Doubles down, and BaiSha have something else to think about now. 6-4. It's not as if this is super one-sided at the moment. Bit of back and forth.
Yeah, definitely a good showing in that opening round of the half from GV. Snox winning that 1v2. Pretty huge time for him to step up and make that happen, but they've got to keep that ball rolling now if they want to get back into this one. 9 going to be holding this mid-angle, pretty much setting up the trap for Woonon as well on this back corner. So it's a nice little bait and switch ready to go on their side of things. GV, though, going to commit right into it. 9 good for a first, but the answer's right there from GV. FaZe and Snox find 1 apiece, and it's a 4-on-3.
Yeah, this is looking much better for GV after the half swap. XQ not able to do too much there. Timing just catching the better of him, and Snox seems to really be putting BaiSha under the pump in this second half. Things are starting to equalize now.
Xiao gonna have to maybe think about pushing through the smoke here, and this is where this side is so difficult to retake. You've got 1 narrow doorway on the mid connection here and 1 narrow doorway and a small window on the other side of site, so they really have to force their way through a difficult position if they want any hope of cracking this lower bomb site. But a lot of these players, they're just going to play these off-angle corners that force you to go all the way through the doorways onto the back of site. FaZe, though, going to be spotted out. He's taken down by 577, but Creeds, he's already found Xiao to make this one a 1-on-2, but there's just no time. Snox gets it done, and GV start off with 2 in a row to kick off the second half.
It's got to be a good feeling, right? If they're going to try to close this map out and they're having to do it on the attacking side, the fact that they now start with 2 in a row builds that confidence up, that self-belief, and they can say, hey, we might actually be able to do this. Maybe a big win. Nade stack to start things off. Both sides in the contest there, but it is GV that comes off a little worse with Snox and Creeds taking a fair bit of damage. And they'll be rerouted back toward mid, which right now is smoked off. Xiao is watching that, though.
It's going to be quick rotation now coming through from BaiSha. They know the mid stack is starting to come to life from GV. All 5 of their players grouped up here, but now BaiSha, they've definitely bolstered their defense on the back of this mid push as well. It's going to be another mid to be in the making. GV going to be running into some trouble. Awesome gets the trade, but still, 9 is going to live on here for the nice double kill, and he's still not done yet. Awesome on the off angle, trying to make it happen. It's not going to matter, though. This time, BaiSha shuts it down.
Well, whatever that adaptation was from BaiSha, that worked very nicely, and it is a crash back to reality for GV. Still got a few rounds to play with here, though. So pressure's not necessarily fully on for GV yet. If they were to drop another round here, though, I think that's where things start to get a little bit more problematic.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the crazy thing right now with this match is it's actually pretty close. If you take 9 out of the picture, the score is very even across the board. It's just 9 sitting on almost 20 kills already in this one, and just makes it so much more difficult for GV to answer. He's that one player that's just kind of been the thorn in their side throughout this map so far, constantly getting those entry frags and really just getting the early round advantage almost consistently in favor of BaiSha.
I mean, that's what we expected, wasn't it, right? 9 was the highlighted player. Creed's on the other side of that. Hasn't had an awful showing, but it hasn't been up to the same standard that 9 has been able to bring to the table. To be fair, 19-5, not the easiest one to keep up with. GV, well, it's obvious where they are at the moment. Lots of util getting tossed. And so some counter util now out from BaiSha to try to slow things down. That nade keeps GV at bay, and now a smoke as well. Well, by the time this smoke fades, time's going to start to become a factor for GV. BaiSha, though, not rotating anyone across yet. And they've also got that bomb in mid, GV. So it's not as if they're committing to B.
Yeah, the big question mark in this round is going to be what FaZe can do with that playing solo towards A long. He's trying to find that counter pick to get things rolling. It is going to be 9 holding on to that long position, but GV, they've only got 30 seconds here. They've got to move pretty quickly and start executing onto this bomb side. It is going to be FaZe who helps open things up with some utility on long, but with only 20 seconds, they've just got to go guns blazing into the A bomb side.
It's going to be where they're headed, but BaiSha have the numbers right here, and there's only 15 seconds. 9 and Wu9 combine, but again it's 9. 4 kills in the round, 23-5. And that is a star power performance that you can expect from an individual like 9. Just another incredible round from him.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't think we have to question who the MVP here is going to be if BaiSha take this one home. I mean, right now, he's doing all of the lifting here for these guys, and they could just be able to close it out. They have an 8-5 lead. They've got some nice pressure already here in what could be their 9th round. Very push forward on this mid control play, just making sure GV can't really establish any forward presence, knowing they're probably going to go in for that late mid hit as they like to do, but BaiSha, they're such a tough team to push through mid against. They just have that firepower to shut it down.
Yeah, got to try to avoid 9. Got to take some kind of map control, some kind of space, and do it without getting into 9's face and maybe put him into an awkward spot, maybe like a 2-on-3 or something like that, where you have a bit of a numbers advantage, because it seems like just in a straight up aim battle, pitched battle, 9 is going to win it for BaiSha. He's hanging around in mid. It seems like he's in a position to really make a difference regardless of where GV decides to go. If they go B, he just reroutes back to where he was. And that's exactly what is going to occur. Wu9, he's going to get the job done himself perhaps, but helped out by 9, who still is able to chime in with a double kill. 25 kills, and the map's not even over. That is a huge number.
It's not over yet, but it might be soon if he keeps it up here. 25 on the table, 9-5. The map score, just 1 away from a BaiSha victory here on Compound. And they are hungry for it. But this guy's just playing on a whole new level. I mean, what do you do when it feels like there's one player and he's just everywhere in your face?
Well, it looked good at the start of this half for GV. I had a bit of hope, I had a bit of faith. I was starting to get converted. But this is now back to more or less what we expected. And it is BaiSha domination. Here's 9. Once again, he spots the barrel of Awesome. The flash connects. He holds his shots. The timing is nice for 9 again as he gets a double, and Wu9's there for the trade. 5-7-7 as well. Gets 7. And that is that. BaiSha